Welcome to another edition of It's Not Insurance Questions Podcast, episode number 68, kinda. What is it, Sarah? What do we do on Tuesdays?
Okay, I'm not going to
We
ask a
eat
question.
tacos at Taco Casa.
Oh, whatever. So I'm not going to say it with a question this time. It's Tax Questions Podcast.
What number?
I don't keep up with numbers. No.
Four.
Quattro.
I see so many numbers throughout the day. I'm not adding any additional.
Four.
Yeah.
I don't
Four.
blame you.
Four. Let's do some housekeeping first. All the opinions and statements made by Sassy Stara, Eddie Buffalo, and Donnie Lowe are solely for entertainment purposes. Don't sue us. How's that?
Don't sue us. Don't use this as tax advice.
Y'all ain't gonna do no suing. Let me tell you what.
If you happen to be audited by the IRS, do not say Sassy Sarah gave this as an option for me. Talk to your
Lowe
tax
did it.
professional.
Just blame Donnie.
That's
Donnie
right.
Lowe did it.
No.
I tell you what, he can tell you all kind of crazy stuff, that Donnie Lowe.
So this one is going to be more about home improvements and what's.
I hate to interrupt you, Sarah, because I know how much you love being interrupted.
Uh-huh.
But I got to tell our listeners something really cool. I told Donnie about it this morning, and he thought it was pretty darn good. So I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, Sarah, but what does this remind you of? You have mail.
AOL.
Okay. So I got an email about 5 something this morning. I don't know who thought it was a great idea to do that, but from our company that we use to host all our audio podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to add a fan mail button to every single podcast that we own.
Oh, awesome.
So while I don't know why they're not doing it on YouTube. Maybe
Because
it's something with them.
No,
but
you can do comments on the, yeah.
Maybe that's it.
why. Mm-hmm.
But and it's funny, I was just talking to Katie Valentine, my daughter, my youngest, that she destroyed calculus. She never has to take it again. Woo, Katie! Woo! And so I told her about that, and she's, oh, that's really cool, Dad. And just so you know, Donnie Lowe, be on your best behavior. Niagara University biochem major Katie Bednars is going to be asking us insurance questions for 20-year-olds. What do you think about that? What y'all think about that?
I think that's awesome.
So I would like a little bit of feedback. If you guys like the buttons, if you don't like it, don't do dirty stuff. We'll think it's funny, but they won't let it go through. So just say something really pleasant.
Well, and then if you have an idea of things you want to hear with insurance or tax questions that we can use for entertainment purposes only, you can also send it through that chat button. So thank you, Eddie, for interrupting me. We're going to go back to
I'm even going to mute myself. How about think about that?
That would be awesome. Put some duct tape on your mouth too, just to make sure. Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be about home improvements. There are a lot of things that you can write off. For example, if you have a home office and you own a business, any home improvement that affects the office space. So if you did some outdoor plumbing, the roof, changed out the windows in the office space, you could write off some of those deductions. Something you don't think about. And I'm going to ask you a question, Donnie. What is a home improvement to your home you never thought you could write off, but is allowable under certain circumstances?
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question.
Because I told you, Eddie, don't even.
How about a new heating system and cooling system, HVAC?
So yes, that affects the home office, so you can write off a portion of it. But
a swimming pool.
A swimming pool, yes. If you have arthritis or multiple sclerosis and you need to use it for therapy, you can actually have your doctor write that you need a swimming pool, that you need, if you need ramps to the house, if you are wheelchair bound, or need handicap items set up to go to your house. You can do hot tubs. There's a whole lot of items that you can write off, but here's the thing. If you have a pool, You cannot throw parties in the pool. It is only for therapeutic purposes.
Ah.
So that's kind of the trick. If the IRS catch winds that you're throwing parties and having the grandkids over and they're swimming and playing, then the pool is null and void.
So
That's
what
not
if
gonna
you were
work.
having a tequila party for medicinal purposes only?
Hopefully you're not having medical
Medical
treatments
marijuana,
and
medical tequila. I mean, we are close to Mexico. You know that's going to be a thing.
So medical marijuana or all marijuana is still looked at illegal at the federal level. So I could say no
Hmm.
to that.
I guess you're going to jail, Donnie Low. You still running all them drugs across the border from Canada to Williamsville? How y'all think he affords all them gold bars, you know? And he ain't even smoking it. You know, well, he did. That's why it's so short. Because
Oh my
smoked so much of
goodness.
it, it's stunted his growth. You know, and I'm only a little bit bigger than Donnie Low, and I never smoked dope. So I'm just that would explain a lot though if I would have, you know.
Oh my
Sarah,
goodness.
why do you let these shows just go out of control like this? What's
Aren't you supposed to be on mute?
No.
Right. So I've learned there's
Wait,
no
you missed me
wrangling.
saying in hot tub, in hot tub.
I've learned that there's no wrangling you in and just let you go how you go.
All right, goodbye.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting fact that not a lot of people know about. And so if you need a hot tub and you suffer from arthritis or any other medical condition, talk to your doctor about getting that. I actually went to the chiropractor yesterday and I was like, oh my God, this is interesting. He's like, yeah, I've written a few of those. That's something really cool. But he was thinking you can write off sales tax. So if you're in a state, you can write off the sales tax. But
Oh.
I'm like, no, it's even deeper because I have not come across someone who needed to
that's
write
what
off
he
a
was
pool or
guessing.
hot tub. Yeah.
Gotcha. What about medical professionals that think hot tubs are, you know, people's soup, that they don't really care for it because it's so germy?
So my thought is you're not cleaning it properly if you're the only one who uses it. So that's one thing. The other thing is if your doctor doesn't agree to it, you can probably find one who does. Someone who looks at it as people's soup. But you need it for therapeutic purposes.
Donnie, we're like missing half of your face when you keep on turning like that.
Sorry.
So just sit still like you normally do and stare at us with those bad shark eyes. Like you're a
Something else is
creeper.
if, let's say, you're an athlete, you know how they take those ice baths, getting that kind of set up would also be important. Again, you just need a doctor to write a note. Don't find one of those doctors who write those questionable scripts.
Hey.
Make sure it's actually needed.
Donnie knows a guy, he knows a doctor too. He's got you. He's got that on
Awesome,
lockdown,
awesome.
all right?
Can you talk about the capital gains for home improvements where you're not charged sales tax because it's considered a home
So
improvement for
I didn't
capital
even know
gains?
that.
it wouldn't be capital gains per se, but what happens is you offset it in the state and state level taxes. And since Texas doesn't really charge a sales tax, you can add that portion, but it rolls into the standard deduction. So most people, it's kind of like you're not going to meet that unless you have other items that's going to reduce or allow you to itemize. One thing the IRS is doing is making it where less people have to itemize, which is why the standard deduction is getting so high.
So
I
what
know
about
that
if you install a stripper pole in your bedroom? Is that considered an improvement? Is it for health? Is it for mental health? Can you categorize a stripper pole in your bedroom for me, Sarah?
well, I'm going to answer before Sarah does. If you're installing a stripper pole in your bedroom, it's definitely mental health.
It's just me. I just do it for, you know, self-gratification. Oh, that does not sound right.
No, it doesn't. So this is why we need an editor who can cut that piece out. Anyways, if you are an exotic dancer, you can try to justify that you need that to one, stay in shape, work on your act, whatever the case may be.
It's a workout device.
I always like to say you can as long as you understand when you go into those riskier deductions, if it's disallowed, you're gonna have to pay that back, interest and penalties. Just be aware of that. But again, as long as that's your employment, whether it's contractor, so you'd be looking at it as a business, or if you're W-2. I don't know how strippers are paid. I have not had the experience of doing a stripper's tax.
1099, or do they just get the tip?
Eddie,
So I said capital
family
gains.
friendly. I want kids to
It is
be able to
family
hear
friendly. I didn't see
this.
nothing.
No,
Whatever.
I said capital gains. What I meant was capital improvement.
Yeah, so
So
it's not handled the same way as you would a business where you appreciate it, unless it's like a rental home. But then you don't get the full standard deduction. So the sales tax is just, you put it in a separate section for taxes, is where also your property taxes go. So it's factored into those numbers.
Sarah, can I ask a different question? A for
Sure.
real question?
For real, for
Because
real.
it seems like in every industry, we go through cycles where it's like something's a hot button. Like right now, if you're trying to avoid getting audited, what is the hot button item that the IRS is looking at and they're like, we gotta go check this stuff out?
So technically there really isn't a hot button. They just pick however they pick
Random?
for audits. It is random. They are using more AI and computer generated to show flags. So most of it's if they have income that's reported that you didn't report, whether it's retirement account withdrawals, which is the most common, people forget about those,
Yeah.
or W-2 information.
When you say that, are you talking about the RMDs or just the whole thing they
All
freak out?
of it. Like I've had people where they just completely forget a form and then they get a letter from the IRS. An example is I had a client, they didn't get a W-2 from a state or where they worked at. And so they had to pay, like the IRS adjusted it, New York State adjusted it, and they had to pay those taxes. But that was because they didn't receive it. And so they didn't give it to me.
No, I got another question for you. Like I received a letter the other day that I'm owed monies for a class action suit from one of my former employers. Now, when I get that money, what is that considered?
So anything from lawsuits isn't considered income.
Do you have to claim it though?
Typically, they will tell you if you have to claim it. 99% of the time you don't. For example, car wrecks.
Why is that?
Because it's not actual income. There was an issue that happened that you're being reimbursed for, whether it's time, money, pain. So it's not actual income. You didn't do work to earn it.
Okay,
Or
I was kind of
invest
surprised I
to
got
get
it
it,
because I mean, I haven't got one of those in quite a long time. I'm just kind of curious how the tax implication was going to end up on that. I don't even know how much it's going to be, but it's kind of free money. Yeah.
Everybody loves
You
free
know.
money.
Well, we gotta
So
say,
if
Don,
we go
I know
back
you gotta say
to,
something.
no,
You can
well,
say-
my 2 cents. My 2 cents. So we go back to a home office.
Yes.
Just so you know, tomorrow during the insurance podcast, we're gonna have a contest. See who can predict how many times Don says, "That's a great question." Because the last one, you want to know how many times you said it?
I don't want to know.
7.
That's not too bad. That's
Yeah.
not too bad.
You thought
And
it was
I
gonna
have
be
great
lower or higher?
questions. I have great questions.
Okay, Don,
So
give me your.
I'm gonna ask a question about asking a question. Should I not
Yeah.
ask any questions or make a statement that that's
Instead
a
of
good
giving us
question?
your 2
Or is
cents,
that a
I mean,
bad
with
question?
inflation, why don't you give us a plug nickel? How about that? You got one of them? How about a wooden nickel?
I do.
I bet you do.
I have
Did
to
you get
find it.
paid with wooden money for your confirmation and your communion way back when in the early
Oh,
1800s?
Okay, Donnie, what was your question?
So a couple things. I believe the percentage you're able to deduct for home improvements and electric, gas, all of that stuff is based on the square footage of your your office within the home, right?
Mhm.
So you take that, whatever that percentage is.
Yes.
And then what if you have an actual a physical office that you can go to, but you do most of your work in your home office?
So
Isn't
you
that your
can
choice though?
you can have both, because you get a percentage of the home office. The home office, though, you can't use it for anything other than business purposes. When it comes to your actual office space, if you own the building, you can still write off all the expenses.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
was a little
saying,
upset, like the work from home, they got rid of the home office deduction for employees. Cause now more people work from home.
How are you not double dipping, claiming your office and your home office?
Because
How
it's
come
two
they're not
different,
looking at that?
it's two different spaces.
Same job, two different spaces. It just
Right.
as long as now you have to prove the resident and where you work and everything, I'm sure.
Right, well, and
you know?
most people, when they're claiming the home office deduction, it's maybe 20-30% at most. And that's like the largest that I've seen. Typically, people range in the 10-15%. And so you're taking all the utilities like lawn care, cleaning service, and you're multiplying it by 10-15%. It's not as much as you think it would be.
Right.
So
I've seen
now-
some even smaller than that. So it's,
Okay, so now that I have the home in Buffalo, my apartment in Greenville, but I'm pretty much mostly working out of my apartment in Greenville,
I would
I
not
can
use the
claim
home in-
everything.
No,
Why?
because the home in Buffalo, you don't go there that often.
So I can't even
I-
touch that anymore. Everything's gonna
I
be
would suggest you not.
okay.
If you were splitting your time and you were there half the time, then yes, I would say, hey, you can do both. Because there's places you can list, you have one home, you have another home, and you're splitting your time evenly. What Donnie was asking was an actual physical office space. So think of like a common desk if you're paying rent there, or you actually own a building with office space that clients are going to.
So this is we're really going in deep waters here. So say we end up buying an office building like we've been looking at, right? And we have our business in there. So we get a tax write-off on the building and our office.
So
the home
if-
office, you mean?
So the way, educational purposes only and entertainment purposes only, the best
You
way
are
to structure
very
it.
entertaining, by the way, Sassy Sarah.
I know.
Not Donnie though, he's a punk.
So what would happen in that scenario if you purchased a business under the same company? Then no, you just do the business, like you just write off the building. What typically happens is another company purchases the building and that business pays rent to the first building. So you're still classifying income. You're not double dipping because you're transferring rent as if you were just a tenant to the company who owns the building to help with the write-offs that they get, the expenses they get for like maintaining the building.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Mhm.
And I don't mean to be difficult, but these things are just coming into my head. Say we take that spot we were looking at and we're there, I don't know, 3-6 months. In October, you go, Eddie, let's just buy the freaking building. Let's buy it. You know, we got the money, blah, blah, blah. So how do you chop that up tax wise?
So how I would do it is another company is formed to purchase the building.
Hmm.
And then the same rent amount is being paid to the other company. That's how I would set it up. Just because.
And God only knows what initial you're gonna come up for that one. By the way, everybody would like to show a hand. The name of our corporation that me and Sassy
I
set
used
up for
our
the podcast
initials. It's
is-
not my fault.
Yo, I want some of that EBSM. Yeah, I love them videos.
Don't say it like that because that makes it sound so dirty. It is literally our initials. And I did your
EBSM.
name first because
Oh,
you start with
I
an
heard
E.
about that
I
EBSM.
start
That's
with an S.
dirty.
Anywho,
I'm gonna mute myself again for a couple minutes.
yeah, thank you.
I'm in timeout. Sarah just put me in timeout with her eyeballs.
Yes.
Get the duct tape.
Basically, when it comes to a company, like let's say Eddie, our company rents the space and then they buy the building, we can make the option of just writing off the building because we're not paying anybody any rent. That's where you have to create that separation. Now, trying to think of the best, like if we were just buying the building and we weren't going to pay rent, we weren't going to rent out to other people, then I would say we just buy the building and do whatever we want to do with it.
Does it make sense to wait until you actually take possession of the building in the beginning of the new year? Or
no.
is it doesn't make it doesn't make
It doesn't make
bit
any
of a
sense.
difference?
So this, for example, let's say you were living in Buffalo.
Oh, fail.
I know you have to go back.
No.
So you had your home office there, and then halfway through the year, you moved here and purchased a new home or rented, and you're doing the home office deduction. You would put in the Buffalo address, the bills until the date that you moved, and get that deduction for that half of the year. And then you'll do the same for whatever new home you were renting or buying that you used a home office with. That's typically how it is. You're breaking it up. You're not using it for the whole year for a space that you didn't live at the whole year.
Okay. Makes sense. But the corporation for, the entity, I'll say, for owning the building, is it
Mhm.
better as an LLC or an S corp?
So it depends on what you want to do. And I can actually make that the discussion next week on different types of businesses and how people can structure them.
I think that's great.
So we'll save that one. We'll table it for next week.
Very good.
Yeah, it's not noticeable, is it, that I spelled? That's not noticeable.
Oh, no, totally noticeable.
Hey, now I'm vetoing that because we already talked about what next week's episode is going to be about, and you can't pull that away from me now. Ed,
No,
'cause I'm looking
as
forward
bad
to it
as you're
already.
acting, I am not going to talk about that next week. I got to wait until you're a
Exactly.
little bit more calmer.
Oh, never.
Oh, it's me. It's me, right?
It is
Listen,
totally
listen,
you.
You started the conversation. I just jumped on it. All
It
right.
is totally
Jump
you.
on it. Jump
that's
on
gonna-
it.
That's
Jump
going to
on
be
it.
one of those of I'm going to have to be sitting next to you. You're going to have duct tape on your mouth, and when you try to take it off, I'm going to have to slap
Imagine
your
how
hands.
nice I'm going to be tomorrow with my daughter on the show. She's like, we should have her on all the time. It'll be like the policeman watching me like, Dad, that's not funny.
That would be hilarious.
But here is the thing. Katie is my one child that is as much like me as I'm like her.
Uh-oh, double trouble.
Yes. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what. You got any more tech stuff, Sarah? Tech stuff?
I have a lot
I'm-
of tech stuff, but I
I'm
don't
doing
think we have enough
appointed at
time.
my watch. We have to watch our time.
Yes.
Okay, I think as always, it's been a very informative, I wanted to say meeting, but podcast. And just so you guys know, Sassy Sarah show is beating everything. I mean, last Tuesday, we had 1.8 million listeners to the Sassy Sarah Taco Show. That's what it's called, Taco Show. By the way,
We'll let you
Taco
say
Pasta,
that.
I love you. You should really advertise on here. Just saying. You
Give
know?
Eddie a lifetime supply of tacos.
Well,
But
I've
he-
eaten there
yeah.
quite a bit. I don't think my life's gonna last that long if they give me a lifetime supply.
Every day.
So anyways, also don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, comment, send the email button or
The fan mail.
the fan mail.
That's what it's actually called, the fan mail button. So check it out. I want to know what everybody thinks of it. And I'm even gonna mess around with it myself. So once again, like we end most of our shows, if you like working with people that are just like you, we're the people to see. You can have access to all of us at www.ebiagency.com. Our phone numbers are actually listed under each of our faces, even though some podcast people that we talked to said they should do that. Do that.
Whatever, control freak. You just don't want to let go.
Not me, not me. So for Sassy Sarah, your buddy Donnie on the low, and your buddy Eddie Buffalo. Tune in tomorrow. It should be an entertaining show. I can't wait to see what Katie does.
Watch out.
So, everybody take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye-bye.